Hi, I'm Nina.
I'm Zoe.
And we'd like to give you a guide to using the Stepper Acid sequencer module. Let's get going. The display is used to show various different settings and modes. It's currently showing the tempo, and you can adjust that with the main dial. We can also adjust the swing amount, which varies depending on the clock resolution. We can change the pattern which we're editing, denoted by the letter E. In song mode, we can chain patterns together. The external clock button allows us to synchronize to an external clock and displays the current clock resolution. The main keyboard is for note entry and also allows notes to be played while the sequencer is stopped. The settings next to the keyboard are for the note attributes and the note's octave. We can change the octave of the note. We can change whether the note has an accent or not, and whether it has slide or not. The backwards and forward buttons let you select a different note in the pattern. We can tap these multiple times or hold them down. The Run Stop button starts the sequencer running and stops it again. When you start the sequencer in pattern mode, it will begin at the start of the current pattern. Change the length of the pattern using the length buttons. Again, you can either tap them or hold them down. Nudge does a couple of different things. You can transpose the whole pattern up or down, a semitone at a time. You can also nudge the pattern backwards or forwards in time, effectively rotating it. Both of these work while the pattern is playing. Here we have Clear, which clears the current pattern. If there are any notes in the current pattern, this will wipe them. If your pattern is saved and you clear it, pressing Clear once more will bring the saved pattern back, loading it from memory. The save light comes on when there are unsaved changes in the current pattern or song. Press Save to save them. Copy copies one pattern to another. We'll come back to that later on. So let's enter a pattern while we're stopped. I'll press Clear to start with an empty pattern. We can enter notes using the keyboard and advance using the forwards button. Once we're happy with that, we can press play. So there we have our pattern going. We can add modifiers to this. Perhaps we want an accent here. If we want to slide from one note to another, we can add a slide. We can adjust the slide length to make it faster or slower. We can also adjust the octave. Now you can really hear the slide. You can also enter a pattern live. Let's clear it again. You can play along while it's running, so let's enter a few notes. You can even adjust all the parameters while it's running. So let's add a few accents. If you want to fine-tune the pattern while it's still playing, you can press the detach button. That detaches the read and write heads. This is our write head, which you can move along. Maybe we want this note to be an octave lower. And maybe this one needs to be lower too. Let's open the gate on that one as well. Now we can reattach and the heads are in sync again. We've now finished editing our pattern, so we want to press save. And that's our pattern saved. If we decided we didn't like it, we can press clear and it'll wipe the pattern. But if we decided we did that by mistake, we can press clear again to restore it, but only if we saved it first. If you press the pattern button, you can see that we're currently playing pattern 1. If you want to copy that pattern to a different pattern, you can press copy and the letter C appears here to denote that this is the pattern we're copying from. We can go to another pattern and press copy again to paste it. Now we're editing pattern 2. So we can hear pattern 2 playing now. We can select a different pattern and press the pattern button when we're ready to change to it, and it will change at the start of the next bar. Those two patterns currently sound the same, so let's modify one of them. Let's make it a little lower and save it. Back to pattern 1. And 2. If we're stopped, we can select a pattern at any point and it will switch straight to that pattern, ready to edit. If you're playing, however, you browse to another pattern, then press the pattern button to prime it, queuing it up for the next bar onwards. So we're playing pattern 1, browse to pattern 2, prime it, and then it switches at the end of the bar. Let's go back to pattern 1. If we want to automatically alternate between those two patterns, we can chain them together into a song. Press Song to switch to song mode. In slot 1, we have pattern 1. In slot 2, we can have pattern 2. And we can adjust the song length to 2, so it's only 2 patterns long. Now if we press play, it will cycle between the two patterns. Let's see how easily we can build up a nice little track. we've built up our pattern and we're going to save it. And copy it to another pattern. Now we can switch to that pattern and we can make some changes to it. I've added some variation to the pattern. We're going to save it now. Then we're going to detach and go into song mode. It's showing the pattern numbers. So we're going to repeat the first pattern 3 times and then play pattern 2. And we're going to make our song 4 patterns long. So let's reattach the head so we're back in pattern mode and switch to song mode. I've programmed in a new pattern. We can mute by note, which will mute immediately, and unmute immediately. Or we can mute at the end of the bar. And we can come back in at the end of the bar. I'll show you that again. So it flashes to show you that it's about to mute. If we decide that our melody didn't start in the right place, we can nudge it. Perhaps nudge it forward to the left in this case. That's better. Also, I think it might work better in a lower key. So let's transpose it down a bit. This can also be done while playing. I think I'm happy with that, so let's save. Let's reduce the tempo now. We can introduce a bit of swing to it. We can adjust the amount of swing so you can transition to swing and back, for example. That's how leisurely the swing is. The swing options available depend on the current clock resolution. The higher the clock resolution, the more swing options. At the lowest clock resolution of 4 pulses per quarter note, swing is disabled. When you're in tempo mode, you can press the external clock button to show the clock resolution. We're currently on 24 pulses per quarter note. That's a common setting used on vintage Roland equipment. We can go as low as 4, which is 1 pulse per note, popular in the modular world. We can go as high as 96. Now we're on 96, we get a lot more swing options. We can be really gradual now. Now we're going to show 2 of them synced together. We got them set to the same clock resolution. The one on the right is going to be the slave, while the one on the left is going to be the master. We can connect our clock out to the clock in, and our run stop out to the run stop in. As the master device, we turn this one's external clock off, so we're running in internal clock mode. Now when we press start and stop, they'll be in perfect sync. We've got a nice patch wired up here for the bass. I thought it would be nice to make a simple pattern like this. Let's go to another pattern. Save that. Now I'm going to detach for a minute. I'm going to alternate between these two patterns. So in song mode, let's program in pattern 1. Then 1 again, then 2, then 2 again. I'm going to reduce the song length to 4 patterns, then I'm going to reattach and jump into song mode. Hi, I'm Nina.
I'm Zimmy.
And we'd like to give you a brief tour.
No, we wouldn't.
It's not brief.
No.
Hi,
You can remember if you want to, that's fine.